What's up, everybody? Hope you are having a great day, morning, evening, whatever time you're listening to this podcast. But thank you for tuning into another episode of Whattadud. I am alongside our great co-hosts and CJ and Gabby, and we have a very, very special guest, my friend, our friend, Mr. Anthony Espinal.
Thank you for having me, bro.
No worries. How are you guys doing today? How was your day? What you got going on? Hopefully it was good. I know you're in Boston. I know it's probably pretty cold. Gabby, I know you got classes and everything. CJ, I know you had work. How was y'all's day?
It was productive, rewarding, and you say cold. I call it warm because it's 30 degrees, and tomorrow it's going to be negative 20 with wind chill. So I'll take the 30-degree weather.
All right. Gabby, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm just lovely.
I know CJ was waiting to hear that from you.
Yeah, that was just for him.
I was.
Dang. CJ, how you doing, man?
You know what? I'm a survivor. Crazy out here in the streets, man. Life is precious. Be careful out here in all this rain because there's a lot of accidents today. I see it a lot right in front of me actually today. So it's a crazy day for me, but I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to talk about Wakanda Forever because a great movie.
100%. And as you heard from CJ, this episode we're going to be talking about Wakanda Forever. It's going to be a great show, just like he said, but you guys know the rules and what we're about to do first. We're going to get into our dud or dandy questions. So CJ, you're up first. Your dud or dandy questions. 2 days in high school. Dud or dandy?
2 days in high school are the dumbest thing to fucking do. Excuse my French. But a certified dud. Absolutely god awful. If you're gonna do 2 days, at least feed the kids properly. Not no bananas and Gatorade. All right? That's not enough.
It's not enough.
Certified dud.
All right. Gabby.
Yes.
This one especially is just for you. So imagine you're just driving either home or you're driving to work and you see that perfect parking spot, right? Either right in front of your apartment or at work. Is that a dud or a dandy?
Do you even have to ask that question? Do you even have to ask that question?
The amount of times.
If my spot is open, oh, it's a dandy. But
Awesome.
If somebody is in my spot, whoo, I lose my shit. Excuse my French.
And then Anthony, I know you like this. I don't know if you like this guy, but I think you do. Your dud or dandy question is Quentin Tarantino. Is he a dud or a dandy? Yes, sir. You know where I'm going with this.
Dandy, of course.
Okay.
Anybody who directs the movie Django is a goat. And you know, Kill Bill, Pulp Fiction, whatever.
Reservoir Dogs. Let's not disrespect one of his greatest movies he's produced.
Django, I already said it.
If you don't know, now you know. Django is Anthony's favorite movie. But yeah, Quentin Tarantino. And I was going to ask someone else, but, I guess I'll ask you. Hey, I wonder who. Hey, man.
Come on now.
Usually I try to get friends a comic of their favorite thing. CJ, yours is on the way. Gabby, yours is on the way as well. I promise. But all right, guys, let's get right into it. So first off, Wakanda Forever, directed by Ryan Coogler. Great film overall, I think so. But we're going to start the first scene that we really see. So first off, we start off with, Shuri trying to find the cure to cure her brother. Now, my thing is, do y'all like the direction that they went in for that as of how he passed away in the film? Do you like that direction that they went in? Gabby, I'm going to let you go first, and then I'll let Anthony hit it off. Or no, my bad. I forgot. I'll let Anthony go first. Gabby, you can go second, and CJ, whenever he can join us again, we'll get him in there. So how do you guys like the, he was sick, had a illness, undisclosed illness, and yeah.
I guess I'll start, but I was thinking about it because the first time I saw it, I didn't really think much about it. I just liked how they started off with his death because that's something you have to address right away. Obviously,
Right.
I mean, he's not in the movie. We all know he died. It's a good way to address it.
R.I.P.
But the way he died, I'm not against it. That's kind of how he died in real life. He died mysteriously. Like we found out last minute that he had cancer, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for him to die in Black Panther with a disease or illness or cancer, it's fitting because he was a hero in real life and a
Facts.
hero in the movie.
Facts. Gabby, what were your thoughts watching that?
I totally agree. I honestly, I liked it because you were able to relate to these characters even more than you already would try to relate to them. Because, I mean, all of us have had somebody who's passed away from like cancer and illness or whatever. So I like it because right off the bat, like you said, they had to address it because how are you going to dance around that? But
Yeah.
you're already are feeling how these characters feel because you can put yourself in that situation.
Roger that. CJ,
Point.
how'd you feel about it? How they? Are you good? You're mute. Sorry. There we
Yeah,
go.
for the beginning of the episode or this movie, it throws you straight in. Really, like when you kind of go, you dive straight into this, and it's like, holy crap! Like you're in the waters, and it's like, it is. I think when I first started watching this movie or went to go see this movie, I was concerned of like how are they going to address, how are they going to dive in to what happened? Are they going to give like a weird story? Is it going to be like they had some previously shot footage? But I felt like it was an appropriate way to do it because, like Anthony said, like it is his undisclosed illness, like that's real life. Like he really kind of brought that character into his life. Like he was the Black Panther that was so pivotal for so many people and kids and adults who saw how big of an icon Black Panther was. And I have no qualms about how this movie started off.
Okay. And sorry, I was typing something. All right. So, for me, I feel like it was really intense. It kind of just like a lot. Like you're just like, you're just waiting for. You didn't know how the beginning of the movie was gonna go, and it was just like, oh, you're paced because she's pacing back and forth. Like high intensity, like kind of anxiety, just fear. That's all you see is fear, and it's just like you're in that, and you're like, oh dang, what's going on? Like, and then you hear, King T'Challa's heart rate is da 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 da, and you're like, oh, this is now. Okay, all right, yeah. I guess we're gonna have to, like Gabby said and like Anthony said, we're gonna have to address it right now. Okay, we're gonna have to feel what they're going through, and then when you're fast forward a little bit, the funeral happens. You see them walking down. Everyone's in all white. They're doing their ritual. They're doing the proceedings of the funeral, and they pick it up, or they put the casket, I guess, on the shrine, I guess you could say. I don't really know what you would call that. And then you see the Black Panther doing this. And then as soon as the beam raises up, it's like him standing up and doing it one last time with everybody. So I want to know, what were y'all thoughts on that? Gabby, I'll start with you on this one. What were y'all thoughts, and what was the theater's reaction? As that part ends and it hits that Marvel thing, and it goes all purple, and everything is just him on all the letters. What were your feelings, and what was the theater's reaction? Because I think that's one thing that pulled this movie together. Everyone had not the same reaction, but all of us had a reaction. So yeah, Gabby. So what were your thoughts, and what was your movie theater's reaction?
So for me, I went to go see it by myself because knew I was going to be a mess. But it was completely silent because I think it just started out so intense. Like everybody was just kind of woof. And then when it switched to the Marvel and it was just all him, it was completely silent except for everybody sniffling. Like I said, me included. And at that moment, like you could really feel like just everybody almost being in that moment with them in the movie, I feel like. If that makes any sense.
That makes sense. Yeah. Anthony, what were your thoughts and your reactions?
I'm smiling because you almost triggered me when you mentioned the theater. Because Julia and I, we were in, that's my girlfriend, we were in New Hampshire, like in the middle of nowhere, visiting some friends when it came out. So we went and watched the movie there, and the crowd was just like anticlimactic. I will say they were like eating their snacks, talking, and once that scene hit, they just like quiet down and they focused. But I don't know. It like I said before, it was a good way to address how he died, and it really set the tone for how deep of a movie it was going to be. So I appreciated it.
100%. So actually, in this movie, Anthony, I took your brother. I'm not gonna say his name because if it's okay with you, I'll say his name. But I just didn't.
It doesn't matter.
All right, so took him in well. Really cool kid. Me and him went to go see it, and it was super quiet in there. Everybody in there was a Marvel fan, if not a Black Panther fan. And as that scene's happening, obviously, like my heart's racing throughout the whole thing, and then, Queen Ramonda says, he's with the ancestors now, and that little scene with the Marvel thing hits, and I'm watching. I'm like, oh, this is all him, and it's just dead silent, and you hear some sniffling, like Gabby said, and I caught myself in a weird way of, I didn't sniffle or cry at that moment. Because I already had in my mind, there's going to be more to this. There's going to be more events that you're probably going to miss him in. And it's like, I wanted to wait to see what the movie was going to give me. Because there were so much emotions when it happened in real life. And then, I just didn't want to do it right then and there. But it was a very touching moment. And it was just like, I just think about it now. Usually they have the Marvel theme song happening when they do the Marvel words and everything on there, but it was just silent. And I was just like, all right, okay, all right. Yeah. They almost got me. They almost got me. They almost got me. But, Chadwick, I love you, but all right, man. All right. But, yeah, man, the theater reaction was just, I told people, if you didn't go see this in theaters, then you're just going to miss out on the cheers, the cries, the emotional roller coaster this movie brings you to. And by the way, if you have not seen this movie yet, you should just go ahead and click off, and you click back on this later on, at a later date and time, if you have not seen this.
And lift the rock above you, because
literally
you're living under a rock, right? Come on.
Literally.
So we're gonna fast forward a little bit. So after that happens, the funeral and everything, and you see the pain on Shuri, and you see the pain on Queen Ramonda.
Can I say something about that funeral?
Yeah,
I just love the music that they were playing when they're like walking him down the dirt road.
Right.
West African music is very similar to Caribbean music.
Okay.
So I was kind of like jigging it with it. It's like
right.
And that's symbolic of how other cultures celebrate death, because you don't mourn death, you celebrate the life that they had.
Exactly. And even you kind of expected that funeral because you saw it in the trailers. And I think what kind of hit it for me, it was just, there's so many people there. And like you said, it's this thing of celebration. They're smiling. Everyone's smiling except for Shuri. And so that just instantly just, it kind of just set the tone right then and there. But we're going to fast forward. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, wait. I want to say something, because we know that what I am going to talk about the most is obviously the women characters and the fashion. The funeral scene, being able to pause and look at all the details. Ruth Carter is literally, if she does not win all the things that she ever is up for, I don't know what. I read something where that scene specifically was a struggle for her because everybody had to be wearing all white. And like as you see in the first one, all the different regions are represented by color.
Right.
And so just the different things that she had to do to like just the different textures of fabric and like just all the different aspects. She said she spent hours painting things herself to get it exactly right so that you can still see the different regions without all the color.
Right.
I will. Don't worry, I have a lot more to say about her.
Hey, don't worry. I got some questions for you about the wardrobe because I know you're into. I know you love the costumes and the wardrobe. Did you want to say something, Anthony? No.
That was
all right.
That's a good point that she made. I wish someone would have told me that the third time I watched it. I didn't really notice that.
The next time you can pause it.
The next time, boss man. So we're gonna go a little bit forward. So after the funeral, we didn't know that it's a. I don't want to say it's the UN. Is it the UN? I don't know if it's the UN. But Queen Ramonda walks in the doors. And I don't know what it is with Ryan Coogler, but he be killing it for me with these intro musics, with these intro instrumentals, bro. Like it's just so cool. And then she sits down and she's having this talk with I know it's France for sure. And just saying, you think we're weak just because we lost our king. You think we're just gonna be not at our full potential because we lost our king. You think you're just gonna slip under our watch and just think you're just gonna take things from me? And before we talk about what happens after that, what are y'all thoughts on? Do you think she's making the right move and Chadwick's making the right move of keeping King T'Challa and Ryan Coogler, I guess in a way, keeping vibranium in Wakanda? Oh. Do you think that's the smart thing to do, or do you think that's a smart thing to do? Do you agree with her on that aspect of, not letting these things out? Because she said, I'm not afraid, to lend it out to people. I'm afraid of what you will do it to other people. You know what I'm saying? Because people with the higher head, the militaries and all that kind of stuff, you always want to be up one. And she's like, you ain't never gonna be up one on us, cuz she's just she's being real with him. You ain't gonna do that to us.
She's like, I heard what y'all been saying in the inner circles now.
Facts.
We ain't stupid. No, but I'm glad you said that, because when I was in the movie theater and I saw France and United States talking at the council, I don't know if you've seen the GIF of like the little baby just like doing this. That was me. I was like celebrating because that's not really depicted in movies, how the U.S. uses politics to gain resources from other countries. We all know about American imperialism, but then you have France, who was also notoriously one of the worst colonizers of Africa.
Right.
Talking about, hey, we heard your vibranium could be turned into weapons of mass destruction. What's good? Like, y'all can't be doing that. We need our hands on that.
Right.
And I agree that with Wakanda not allowing other countries access to this resource, because we know how these Western countries do.
Killmonger set the tone for that. That she does. You know what? You got it, buddy. We seen what you did.
And that was just half of y'all. Because he was one of us. Imagine. Nah.
And Gabby, so what were your thoughts on it? And watching this movie a second time, Gabby, I thought about you, and I see Queen Ramonda sit down, and she has that thing on her head as usual. And by the way, love the different hairstyles that she was killing throughout the movie. She wasn't keeping it just one way. I thought that was pretty dope, how you just saw different aspects of her, whether she was in grief or whether she was, going to these meetings. Or you said what?
Empowered.
Yeah, she did the damn thing. But I saw her sit down and I saw all that black and gold she was wearing. I was like, oh, snap.
It was like a purple. You're still talking about the council out. Like,
yeah.
That purple.
Purple.
I literally have a whole statement about that whole outfit.
Go ahead.
First off, the fact that her crown was 3D printed. The fact, like, all the technology that we have now is so cool.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I said the stark contrast from Ramonda's first appearance in the first movie like where she wears like softer materials and just like a more motherly kind of look, to this first scene where she comes in as a powerhouse. Like,
yeah.
boss ass bitch walking in. She sits down and she's just like, try me. But it displays strength, showing that she's evolved from just a queen to the ruler now.
Right.
Hence, like the purple, which is like very royalty color and everything. And it was important to set the tone for this film as we have strong women in charge. And like just the fact that even her just exposing her arms just goes to show strength in like a woman. Like, I mean, even in men, when you show your arms, that's you showing strength too. But just the fact that it was all about her strength. And like I said, I can go on and on about costuming,
100%.
but there's just so much significance behind the costumes in these movies, which is what I absolutely love. Absolutely love.
100%. Yeah, I mean,
but also I do agree with her. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. No. Trust me. This movie was not gonna say it was made for you, but it was. I like that we can talk about this movie because there's so many different costumes and wardrobes that you definitely. I know you look at that first more than anything, and that I trust me, it's dope. Now we can talk about. Now she's giving that speech to France and the U.S. Well, everybody, and she's like, the people that try to steal from us, their information is being sent to your mobile phone devices right now. And, they open up that door. You see the Dora Milaje right there. You see Okoye right there going crazy. And I also think in this film, they had the comedy was really funny as well. With I cannot remember her name, and I feel so disrespectful right now. We'll say the newcomer, the younger, the one that gets into the suit with her with Okoye at the end. Anthony, if you can find her name for me.
Yeah, you saw me.
No, not Riri Williams.
Student?
No. The one with the tattoo. Remember at the end, she was like, she had the daggers, and she was like, "Why do you have those?" She was like, She's like, this thing has been passed down in our generation, and it will not change on my watch. That's what Okoye tells her because she has a spear. All the Dora Milaje, she's in the spear, and I think she'll be taking over here soon. Or have her have. I don't know if they said that Okoye is going to have her own series. I don't know.
Is it
It's
Anika?
rumored.
It might be.
Yes,
Anika?
yes. Because the way they were saying it almost sounded like they were saying the N-word. And it would have bothered me if it was like a white movie. It's like, okay, I know what you're doing here.
But yeah, so they're having that talk with the U.S. and France and or French, and they walk in, and that intro music is bumping, and Okoye tells them in her native tongue to kneel, and then she says, "I don't know how to say you're welcome in French," but she says that to the French, the head leader lady. And it's like, here you go. This is what you try to come in our place and steal from us. Here you go. We know who you are.
Oh no, it was like vous en prie or something like here you go.
Oh, here you go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I thought that moment I was like, all right, I'm ready for this movie. I'm ready for it. I don't know what it was, but it just got me hype. So yeah, that happens, and then we can just move on from there. So then they go to the first time we see the people of Talokan, the city of Talokan, and you see Namor, kind of, sort of, but you see Atuma, and how did y'all feel about them coming out of water, kind of like sirens in the English books that we used to read, and they're like drawing them in. I think they're sirens, yeah. They're drawing them in with their voices and singing, and they just jumping off, and you're like, well, I don't know what's going on here. And instantly, they think it's the Wakandans just because they found vibranium in the middle of the ocean. So what were going through y'all's head? CJ, I'm gonna pass it to you. What were going through your head? That when you first see the people of Talokan there, using their voices to make them jump off there and take over it because they found out that the colonizers found the vibranium in the middle of the ocean, and Namor was like, we gotta stop it. So what were your thoughts? If you can hear.
Thoughts about
Okay.
this was that why do we got to do Hispanic people in the water? Why are we just gonna blame the black folks?
Uh-oh. Is he skipping on y'all's end too?
Yeah, he slowly.
Yeah.
All right, it's skipping on you, CJ. I don't know what's
That was initially base.
got it. It's skipping on you pretty bad, man. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. You're good. You're good. No, it was just funny because you said, and that was your thoughts, and we didn't hear any of it. And it was like, got it. Roger. We didn't hear any of it. If you can, I don't know what's going on, but you can start again. It seems like you're good there. No, not working. It's not working. But
bring back the handheld.
Jonathan,
Gotta
is it
go
working on your
bump
end?
What was the last thing that you heard? All right. Yeah.
If it's not working for him, it's probably not working for me. So yeah, I'm gonna go with it's not working for me.
I hear you.
Just continue.
We can hear you. Just your mouth isn't matching up, but we can hear you. CJ's one was just skipping. It was like the mic was taking it in and just. Oh, that was weird. The mic was
You can hear
receiving.
me though.
That's just sounding weird too. Yeah.
Just come back
On you, on your end, Jonathan. All right, no worries.
Come back
All right,
to
so
us.
yeah. Anthony, you heard a little bit of CJ when he said, he didn't like that they put the Hispanic people in the water and then they're gonna blame the black people for killing all the white people.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on his thoughts?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
You're not thinking that
the
in the
water, the water thing. Well, first of all, I didn't even know it was like a Hispanic thing going into the movie
at that point in time.
At that point,
yeah.
So I didn't. That it never occurred to me then or now still, because how else were you gonna hide them? They weren't gonna hide on the ground or in the air.
But at that time he didn't know.
And
that
the water's mysterious. We know more about the, about space than we do about the deep ocean.
Right.
So, and I like I said, the whole beginning of the movie really sets the tone. I know I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but
no, you're good.
I liked how it started.
What about you, Gabby? Your first impression of the singing, the guys being lowered in, like, what was your thoughts on that scene?
Well, you literally took the words right out of my mouth of what exactly I was gonna say. Is I enjoyed that because, like you said, water is mysterious, and we don't know these people. Like, we don't know who they are, or anything about them. So I like the fact that they were in the water because, again, it keeps that mystery. And the fact that they were the siren aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Sirens are this mysterious creature that would, draw sailors and whatnot or whatever. So I liked it because of the mystery aspect of it.
And so... fast forwarding a little bit, not too much though. That's when we've kind of, Queen Ramonda and Shuri go out into, it's the 1 year anniversary. Whoa, it's the 1 year anniversary of Chadwick's death. I mean, God, I gotta keep of King T'Challa's death. It's the 1 year anniversary, and she's like, "Do you have anything set up?" And she's like, "Yes, I want you to take a drive with me, and give me your Komodo beads." And she's like, "Your earrings too." She's like, this was a cool mother-daughter type of thing. Like, hand me this. And that too. You think you're slick. You think. So they go to the forest or woods or safari. And she wants to teach Shuri this ritual just because, Shuri hasn't grieved. She's cried, yes, but she hasn't tried to move past it and not necessarily grow from it, but just breathe in a way. And I get it, that's your brother is the person you look up to. Usually the oldest one is the one you look up to, the one you want to be like, the one that's the first person you really connect with other than your parents. Like, that's the person that you shape your life after. And that's when we see Namor for the first time. You see him float out of the water, flying. What were your first what was your first thoughts when you first saw him? Like, what was it? And Gabby, you can go for it.
I don't know if you want to know what my thoughts were.
Oh boy.
I said, nah, Marvel trying to turn me on. Woo! He was a handsome man. I was like, this is the bad guy? You want me to hate him? Excuse me. But anywho, again, going back to what I was saying, him coming out of the water, it's still just all a mystery. Like, we don't know who he is or anything. And he just came out strong too. Like, they were all like, stay back. And he, didn't even care pretty much. But I mean, yeah, my first thoughts kind of took me out of it because I was just like, who is this man?
Fair.
Anthony, I'm pretty sure you didn't have that same reaction of who is this? You probably said, "Whoa, who's this?" But you
I had the same reaction minus those feelings. It's like, who the heck is this guy? And like, who does he think he is? He came in strong, threatening, and like, if you tell anybody about me, I'll kill you or something like that. It's like, dang, all right. Oh no! That was impactful when he said, "I have more soldiers than Wakanda has blades of grass" or something like that. Mm-hmm. That was tough. And I had goosebumps.
What got me was I knew he was very like raw and real when he like took that breath of air and he was like, "The air here is so pure," So and I was like, all right, this dude, he out here trying to Jedi mind trick people out here. He ain't getting me, but and he's just like, there's someone that built this machine. I need you to go get her, because if I do, it'll be a blood scene right then and there. I need you to go get her and then give her to us. And he was just like, and she was like. They kind of like refused at first in a way, or they kind of did refuse in a way. And he's like, "Here, this is what you do to call me." And she's like, "Well, if we don't want to do that, yada yada yada." And he's just like, "We'll come back," because like this man went undetected. You know what I'm saying? Like, like bruh. And then, you fast forward a little bit, and that's when you bull-headed demon. And And I love that scene just because Kamaru Usman is my favorite UFC fighter, and the guy that was talking and M'Baku was talking to, that was Kamaru Usman, and that was cool to me to see him in there because he always said he wanted to be in it since 2018, so that was cool to see that, and so we're gonna fast forward a little bit. Riri Williams. We see her, Okoye and Shuri, they're right there, Well, let's back up a little bit. Okoye and Queen Ramonda. Okoye convinced Queen Ramonda to let Shuri come with her to get this person. Says this person's a genius. I don't know how they did it, but we got to figure out who this person is. They see Riri at MIT. Shout out Anthony out there in the Boston area. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. MIT, and she's everything you thought she was gonna be smart, and she over here hustling. What grade you get on that? You gonna send me my 80 because we talked about 60. No. You gonna send my 80. You got an A on that guy. Go ahead, send it. Hustler, right then and there. And then they fast forward. They're in her room. Shuri's like, you need to come with us. How'd you do it? You built it in what? A couple of months. What? Yada yada yada. Just crazy. I think they did a perfect job with the casting of her. I think they did a perfect job of making her the comedic relief in this movie because to me, she was pretty funny. Now, my question is, do you think, or you can keep talking about it because, they go to the warehouse, they get surrounded by the cops and everything, and she gets into the Ironheart suit. To me, I didn't want to see an Ironheart suit that quickly. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to see it that fast. What were y'all thoughts of the Ironheart suit, Riri Williams at that point in time? Don't go too far down, but at that point in time, meeting her. what'd you think of her and the interaction between her, Shuri, and Okoye? Anthony, I'll start off with you. Then we'll go to Gabby, and then CJ and Jonathan. Y'all are looking real good on here right now. So I feel like we were in there right now. So yeah, Anthony, what were your thoughts on Riri and the Iron Heart suit?
See, I don't follow the comics too much like that.
Mhm.
But I think it was a little anticlimactic the way they did it. Like, that's like, from experience it firsthand, I was like, wait a minute, this is like a Iron Man suit. So why is this why is this not more significant? Like it felt like it wasn't significant. Like, oh, she
Right.
got away. Okay. It's a suit. Like, no, that's an Iron Man suit made by some student in college. Like, no, this needs more attention. So
Right.
they didn't give it the scene it needed. I don't know how you do it. I'm not a director, but I don't know.
Gabby, what was your reaction of Riri Williams, the Ironheart suit, and just her what's the word I'm looking for? Her interaction with Shuri and Okoye.
Well, I did like the fact that she is sort of a comic relief, even when she was like, "Oh, am I being recruited?" And she was like, "No." Like I did like her humor because she's, just a real American girl, so it was funny to see her interact with these dignified,
Oh, yeah.
women.
And she
But
was
also like, oh, go ahead.
I was like, to piggyback what you said, she's like, to be young, black, and gifted, and she's like, oh, but y'all probably don't say that on Wakanda.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
Because it's the truth,
100%.
Wakanda values everybody,
Right.
so, but to go towards the suit, I also don't follow the comics, so I wasn't even, honestly, I wasn't even really sure that it was significant. Like, I just thought it was, like an Iron Man suit, and I was like, oh, cool, a kid made that, and she's a smart kid, so obviously she would be able to do something like that, but I didn't really know its significance at the time because I didn't follow the comics.
So in the comics, she's, different variations of the comics. She's basically Tony Stark's protege in a way. As smart as Tony Stark, that's her inspiration. She wants to be like him. So she creates her own thing, and that's where she gets the Iron Heart from. And then in a way, further down the line, Tony has another kid. I think they're going to either put him in a movie or make his own TV show. His name's and he has inspiration from Tony Stark. So she's supposed to be like that. And like I said, to be young, gifted, and black. You guys probably don't say that in Wakanda. It's just like, no, they probably don't, because they're all black. So
yeah, they're all young. Yeah.
So they're all black. I thought it was pretty interesting the way they introduced her. I love that she still has that kid aspect to her. And she's like, when's the first time you built, your first thing? And she's like, oh, when I was 3. And I was like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, shaky on the Ironheart suit. A little shaky. I didn't want to. It was too fast for me. It was way too fast. And then, like, what bothered me was she just had it in a warehouse that had, like, a little lock on it. Like, girl, what are you doing?
Well, she's 19. What did you expect?
Girl.
Like, they still had to have the kid aspect because, like, what kid's gonna be like, oh, I need to put this in? No, she's gonna put it in some garage.
I mean, what kid's gonna build an Ironheart suit?
Lock she bought
there's no room for
from-
that. There's no room for that.
But
You can
I'm
build an
just saying,
Ironheart
like-
suit. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
That just made it seem even more like that she was, 19? I think
Yeah, she was 19.
Something like that. So, like, that just went along with that aspect.
Me and Julia laughed at each other. We looked at each other and laughed when she said, yes, you guys can take the car and we're losing Boston traffic. For 1, you're in Cambridge. And 2, at nighttime, traffic isn't that bad depending on the time of day. That or day of the week. But
Exposed.
yeah, so
Exposed.
it triggered me. But all that happened in Cambridge.
CJ and Jonathan, I can see you guys clearly. Jonathan, what was your reaction to Riri? Like the first time you see her? Hold on. This is Jonathan, everybody. Welcome to the show. I had a Dud or Danny question for you, and I'm going to freaking ask it right now.
All
Actually.
right.
dud or dandy? This 30-year anniversary for the Power Rangers idea that they're doing. Is that a dud or a dandy? What is your thoughts on it?
The idea?
Well, I mean, it's already in the
Dandy.
making. I think it's about to be done.
Correct. But the fact that Amy Jo Johnson isn't involved? Dud. No Kimberly?
Yeah. Like she said, pay me my money. That's all she was saying. Give me my money. There is no
I can't
me
believe she's going to disrespect my man Tommy again. Broke up with him through a letter and now can't show up for the 30th anniversary, the year of his death. It's kind of like a reunion for them to like mourn together. And she said, no, I'm good on that. Again? Disrespectful.
I felt the same way. And I'm hoping that this was being filmed before Jason David Frank passed away. But if it isn't, I hope they do a huge contribute to him on that 30-year reunion show. But back to the show. So yeah, what was your thoughts on Riri Williams?
So I also don't really follow the comics that close. So I wasn't familiar with her character. And I was completely taken by surprise by the Iron Man suit or Iron Woman suit.
Ironheart.
Yes, that's the name of the suit, but
we prefer Iron Person suit.
Iron Person. Got to be inclusive. Yeah, so I wasn't really expecting that, even though they did show like on the board, she had a drawing of like an arc reactor.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't put it together in my head yet that not only had she been working on the arc reactor, she had a whole suit. 100%. So that was a little bit surprising to me. But then her relationship with Shuri, I like it. It's like friendly. They're both super smart, so it could be like a friendly rivalry going forward. So I kind of like that. It's that relationship that they've established.
100%. One thing I love about Shuri that she always has said was, just because something works fine doesn't mean it can't be improved. And I kept saying that throughout this movie with her. And, just because she seems fine doesn't mean she can't improve on it. And I feel like she wasn't taking her own advice at certain times, with the grieving of King T'Challa. There we go. King T'Challa. She wasn't trying to improve herself. She just wanted, I don't think she wanted to get back, but we all know how that goes. We'll talk about that kind of later. But so we're going to fast forward a little bit. So Riri Williams and Shuri get taken.
Yeah, I had this.
But this is the first time we see Okoye meet her match in a way. And we've never seen this side of her ever, of fighting and someone's the same strength with her and then strike her down. First of all, Atuma was huge. And I think for herself, she was just kind of like, why are these people dying? And then she realized they got vibranium too, So it's like, that's what said it. It's just like, now she's like, dang, now skills really got to get into it. And I love that fight scene too. I loved it so much. It was amazing. It was, man, you saw all just warrior and dog in them. Like you just saw it in Okoye, and it was super cool to see. So CJ, what was your thoughts on that fight scene, just that fight scene itself?
What's the fight scene in reference to again?
The Okoye, on the fight on the bridge with Okoye and the people of Talokan.
This was an epic fight. This is right before I'm blanking on her name currently right now, but this is before she gets taken, sure. Right? And so I think this is kind of like when you finally start to see the powers of these guys, like really, like how powerful they really are. When we get that first hand-to-hand combat with Wakandans, and so I thought that was interesting. It kind of really gave you like, we can't come with no just some basic stuff here. We got to come correct when we talk to these motherfuckers. And now they got our queen, our new queen. Well, not our new queen yet, but
princess.
They got our girl.
Spoilers.
They got our girl. They got our princess.
100%.
So it's definitely a changing of the tides during this fight.
I see what you did there. You're not slick, but I see what you did there.
But on
changing of the tides. I see what you did there. Look at you. He didn't mean to do it.
It just happened.
It's light work. So yeah, she gets captured. Riri Williams and Shuri, and I think one of the biggest things in this movie happens. Okoye's in front of the council, in front of Queen Ramonda. And she's like, can I please have permission to go get the princess back? And you know, when you say something to somebody and everybody quiet, you're like, oh, what's going on here? You know, looking left and right. And that's when Angela Bassett just, right before she goes crazy, she's just like, Angela Bassett just goes into her vault, into her back, just goes, I'm queen of the most powerful nation in the world. But, you know, right before that, Okoye is just like, haven't I given everything? Like, I've given everything. And she said, you know, you're going to be stripped of everything. You're not the leader of the Dora Milaje anymore. You're not going to be general anymore. You know, she's hurt. I mean, she lost her husband. She lost her son. And then, you know, Shuri's gone. And she's like, I've given everything. And Queen Ramonda, you know, does her speech. I'm queen of the most powerful nation in the world. Have I not given everything? You know, I sat there by your side when you decide to honor the throne more than my son, when Killmonger was there. When you said, when she had to go run to the Jabari for help. That's what she said. I stood by you when you said, hey, maybe she needs to go into the field. Shuri needs to go in the field to get her head right. She lost everything. And I think that scene, I was just like, Angela Bassett is in her bag. Even though we already heard it in the teaser, it was different seeing why she said it and to who she said it. It was insane. That was the first time I cried. When I saw Okoye crying, that was the first time I cried. And I was like, yo, she did that to Okoye? Everybody loves Okoye. Queen was like, nah, fam. This was your last. This was it.
Even the anticlimactic theater I was in felt that. When she was just going off like, I lost my husband, I lost my son. You stood by the enemy when he took over the throne. Haven't I lost enough? While spitting everywhere. You could feel it. She just took the air out the room. Like, I just wanted to go sheesh out loud because I felt it. I felt it.
100%. And I think what was crazy was you felt both sides because how loyal Okoye is to the throne and to people that she loves. Like the guy even said, maybe we're being too harsh. I mean, she put a spear to her husband's in front of her husband and tried to strike him down. And then that's when Queen Ramonda said, loyal. But she can visit her ex-husband or husband, whatever it is, whenever she wants to. I don't know if my daughter is dead or alive. And it was just like you felt both sides, and it was tough. Gabby, what were your thoughts sitting there? Obviously, we all were sitting there watching this scene and just immersing yourself into what's going on.
One thing that I really enjoyed about this movie is that the focus is on like these women processing their loss and like learning how to live without the significant person in their life. And in that moment, 'cause she said that she had processed her grief, like by doing her ceremony and everything like that. But in that moment, you can still see that she's still grieving. And like it took my breath away, honestly. Like you were saying, there was just a stillness in the theater at that moment. And just the passion that she had, like you can still feel that she's trying to act okay, but she's still grieving.
Do you guys think Ryan Coogler did that on purpose to show maybe another meaning? How she pretended to be done grieving, for one, for her daughter to also get through that process, but maybe, I don't know, it's like symbolic of what Black women have to go through. I don't know how they have to internalize their feelings and appear strong.
I mean, yeah. I mean, thinking about, you saying that, I mean, you can go ahead, CJ.
Oh, no, I thought it was a very important mark that they had to hit for this movie, because it is used in so many different ways to really hammer home a lot of different points. It is a lot of different meanings you can get out from that. I think that's what made the moment so powerful. Obviously, like, you know, that shit got real when she is harping down on her best defender, her person who's supposed to protect the throne, supposed to protect royalty. That means like, this is not like this. We're, for one time, we're not the strongest. We said we're the best nation. Now it's like we have doubts. So doubts creeping in that aspect. Then it's like, what's also behind this is like grieving, the prospect of losing another person, that you're alone. And so it's just like the burden that the queen has to face, you know, all of her own shoulders, like just her shoulders again. What does go to that point of, you know, single parents, you know, or, you know, Black women having to burden so much and they're supposed to keep a brave face, but this time, like, she's showing all the emotion, like the anger, the frustration, and like letting it out. So, you know, it's like, whoa, like this is out of character, quote unquote, for you, because like you're always the strong person. You always keep your emotions in check, but now it's like it's out there. So like I think that's what made it so much more meaningful and special, and it really kind of upped the ante in this movie as we progress.
I want to do a little thing real quick. So Anthony and CJ, let's say you're Queen Ramonda. Do you think you made the best? Like, what would you have done the same thing she did by stripping Okoye of her ranks? And then Gabby and Jonathan, let's say you're Okoye and you get stripped of your rank. What's your next move? What do you think you're doing? Like, because for me personally, if I was Okoye, I wouldn't know what's my purpose now. Because she's been training and doing so much. So yeah, what would you have made the same decisions? And then Gabby, you know, and Jonathan, would you have clapped back? Would you have clapped back? I mean, basically, you could take on anybody in there anyway. So I mean, you know, would you have clapped back? But Anthony and CJ, you're up first. Do you think she made the right decision, and would you made that same decision?
That's a tough question because, you know me, I'm a logical thinker, and that's my best defender. That's my security. How am I gonna let her go? Because we're facing a threat we've never seen before. They have vibranium, blah 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 blah. But this is me, the audience. I obviously know this. So let's say I don't know that. Logically, I still wouldn't. But right. I can't tap into how she's feeling. I've never lost my dad. Well, I've never lost my partner, my son, and then potentially my other child. So it's understandable what she did. I'm not gonna disagree or agree with what she did.
Okay. What about you, CJ?
I
You
think
agreeing with her?
For me, it's tough because I tried to be logical with a lot of decisions, but a lot of my feelings do weigh into a lot of decisions, especially something that's so traumatic as losing, your whole family just about. Uh, and I kind of look at it from a sports perspective, right? If we're getting beat by 50, I'm going straight at my defense coordinator. I'm going at my best star player and like holding you accountable. Like if you are going to hold the top of your defense accountable, then I think it gets everyone else to fall in line. And I probably would have done the same, to be quite honest with you, because it's like you have to set an example. And you have to be like, especially at this time, like I do understand like what the significance of it is, but you have to make a statement here to really to get the eyes of everyone in Wakanda in your council.
100%. Just being funny here. It's kind of like one of those Bruce Lee movies, Bruce Lee walks in and like the master is like, he sends the black belts out him first and then they whoop tail. I'd have been the same, like, oof. Dang, my top person got their butt whooped. Ain't no way I'm letting them go. Ain't no way. I just think in that point in time, she shouldn't have let her go, but I understand why. Just because, Okoye did turn her back on her when Killmonger came in the picture. It did happen. And you promised me that my daughter would be safe. No, she wasn't safe. She was gone. So I feel the feelings of why she did it. And like CJ said, you got to make a statement. Because if anybody else was there, like someone else who they weren't Okoye, you would give them a punishment as well if they lost the princess or if they sided with the enemy over you. You're going to do the same thing. So that was a great point, CJ. So Gabby and Jonathan, are you clapping back at the queen or what you doing?
No. I would not. If I was her, no, I would. Me, probably, because I'm sassy, but that's a different story. But if I was her, no, because I know my place. This is my queen, no matter what ranking I am. That's still my queen. I mean, I wouldn't know what to do with myself after that because, like you said, they literally go through all this training for who knows how long to get to the status that she was at. And, like, I mean, honestly, what would you do? Like, just be a normal person walking on the street, going to buy, like, literally, what would you do? Like, at that moment, if I was her, I would be completely shattered because your entire life just gone like that. But I would understand where she's coming from because I did promise her that her daughter was going to be okay. So, like, I mean, she is a little at fault. So you can't really clap back because, you did promise her she would be okay. And now the enemy has her daughter.
100%. Jonathan, what you doing? You clapping back?
No, I'm not clapping back because one, like this was Okoye's whole life. Like she said, haven't I given everything? Like this has been my whole life. And when she's like pleading with Queen Ramonda, she literally calls her mother. It's like that shows the level of relationship they have beyond just Queen and Dora Milaje. Like this is like a mother figure to her. And she's like begging, like, please, like, don't send me away. Like, even if you're gonna send me away from the Dora Milaje, like, don't send me away from you. Like, it's a personal connection. She's losing that. She's already lost T'Challa. Shuri might never be back. Like, she doesn't know. Like, Queen Ramonda is the only person left that she has that relationship with. So she's like begging for that. Like, not just her job, not just her status as general. Like, she's begging to keep that tie. And Queen Ramonda's like, nah, it's done. but I will disagree a little bit with Gabby when she said she's a little bit at fault. Is she really at fault though when she didn't know what they were up against because Queen Ramonda and Shuri didn't tell anybody else that there was another civilization with vibranium?
100%.
Like, she has confidence in her skills. She could have beat any, like, she thinks she can beat anybody in hand-to-hand combat or armed combat. But she doesn't know that other people have vibranium weapons to combat her with. So without knowing that, how can she know what they're up against?
Well, I thought she did know.
No,
because when they were in the dorm room.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So it was just like she knew, but you got to think she didn't see Namor. She doesn't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like the Wakandans. The Black Panther, the head person, has all the powers, just like Namor. But normally everybody else, they're just good at hand-to-hand combat. But she doesn't know, like, oh, these people are juiced in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like, she didn't know. Like, and she said, even at that moment, she's like, I gave 3 of them blows that would have been fatal to anyone else, but they rose again.
Yeah.
But, if there was World Stars on camera footage, they would have seen, hey, she held her own. What'd you say?
But knowing they have vibranium and knowing they've like weaponized it and implemented it in their weapons, 2 different things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can know somebody has vibranium, but they don't know what to do with it. Like, that's one thing about Wakanda is not only do they have vibranium, but they have Shuri, and their technology is so advanced. So they might think they're the only people who are able to utilize it in battle like that. So they have some vibranium, but you don't know what they're using it for. It could just be like a hunk of metal on the seafloor. Like, they don't know what it is yet.
So what it sounds like to me is she really thought she was the shit because she was juicing. She was Barry Bonds out this motherfucker. Mark McGuire. She had the juice. But now all of a sudden somebody else get the package. And now, oh, wait, I actually got to be good at this? No, because are you really good?
Hey, don't be disrespecting the Okoye, bro.
Are you really good? Or are you just hiding behind a really good offense? You got a team around you that's making sure that you elite above every normal person. But now we in the superhero league. We're in the super Champions League.
Brother.
Are you really that good? I'm just saying.
Is she a franchise?
I'm gonna say this.
Is she Russell Wilson or is she Joe Burrow?
All right. Hey, listen, you ain't about to disrespect Okoye like that, all right?
Wait, he just compared an NFL champion to a loser. Anyways, go ahead.
Damn.
So I don't know.
I don't know if you watched the last season. Anyway, we're talking about Black Panther.
I don't know if you guys saw the deleted scene that Ryan Coogler put out there after that scene. So basically, if you haven't, I'll tell you what happened. Okoye, after being stripped of her ranks, she goes out to where the planes are, or they're flying. I don't know. Yeah, they're planes. Tries to go out there and go find Shuri. And the Dora Milaje's out there with their new general. I cannot tell you her name. And no, it's not the young girl that we were talking about. It's the other one that was in Winter Soldier and Falcon. And she's like, we can't allow you to go. And then so it's all the Dora Milaje in front of Okoye, and then the general's behind her. And Okoye takes out her weapons and said, so be it. And is ready to fight. She's ready to go. She said, and then the other general's like, you've trained all of us to kill. Don't let us have your bloodshed for this. And you see Okoye just stop, take a deep breath, and it's just like, all right. So she puts her weapons down and she just walks away. So you still like Gabby said, she has that love for her queen, but she was willing to fight her own Dora Milaje people who she trained to go get Shuri back. And so that just showed the level of respect that she has for not just Wakanda, but for Queen Ramonda, because she understands she's lost everything. She felt her speech. But if you haven't checked that out, you definitely need to go check it out. It's a cool little deleted scene, and I don't know why Ryan clearly didn't put it in there, but he definitely released it for us to see. Yeah. So we're gonna move on. So basically, after that, fellas, I know Gabby had a little moment for Namor, but so fellas, after that part, we go to not Haiti, we go to Haiti, and we see Nakia for the first time in this film. And all I know is that thing was thinging, and Ryan thought he could hide that thing. I don't know what Ryan was thinking. No, I guess Ryan knew what he was doing. He ain't slick. But you see Nakia, you see Queen Ramonda. They have the little they have their conversation of, you were missed at the funeral. Where were you? She comes up with some excuse. And, basically just goes to her saying, we need your help. I need your help. You're the only other person I can trust. Because basically the other person I thought I could trust in Okoye let me down. She's the reason. So then you fast forward and you're in the cave with Shuri and Riri Williams. And Riri is just panicking. She's a panic person for some reason. She stressed me out through this whole film. And she's like, the Wakanda's going to come for us. She's like, I don't know. What about the Black Panther? She said, we don't have that no more. And she says in a joking way, oh, so when I get kidnapped, that's when y'all decide not to have a Black Panther. All right, cool. And, in that moment, you kind of are just like, what is going to happen? And then Shuri takes on that tour with Namor, and you see Talo Khan for the first time. The music, Anthony's favorite song is playing. Got a little mood light going crazy. And he's like, I brought the sun to my people. Now you know what I'm fighting for. Now you know what I have to protect. Because if they get what we have or find what we have, what's stopping them from coming down here and taking it? And, he talked to Shuri more, tells her his story, which first of all, which I thought was a dope little origin little story, him trying to go bury his mother, and he gets to the surface and he sees what's happening. And, he buries his mother, and one of the conquerors is calling him the kid with no love. And he said, that's how I got my name. And I was like, all right, well, they could come up with a better story than that, but okay, I understand.
That was a fire story.
I'm just saying, as in, I don't know. I thought
that was dope.
I liked it.
I thought it'd be different. I just thought it'd be a little bit different. I wasn't expecting
my
that.
brother in Christ. I'm telling you, that was a fire scene.
And I will say this though: the kid that played Namor, hey yo, his mean mug face. Hey, listen, brother.
Yo, I wanted to slap. No, sorry. I felt
his
heated.
mean mug face.
It hit me to the core. That whole scene.
Hey, go ahead, talk about it. Go ahead, talk. No, go ahead, talk about it. I want to feel what you felt, brother. I want to feel that. My brother in Christ, in your words. I want to feel what you felt.
All right. So I'm Dominican. Very proud of that.
Really?
I know. So Columbus and his people, when they first hit the islands, the Taino people, they took him in, they gave him love, they gave him gold, all kinds of treasures. They're a very loving people. And stories say that they were so peaceful that the Taino people, whenever they had disputes, they would play sports to settle those disputes, just to show you what type of people they were. I mean, think about it. If you live on an island, you got sunshine, you got coconuts and mangoes and shit, you ain't got time to fight. So when you hear this beautiful song and you're swimming through the water and you see all these smiling people who look like you, and that's when I teared up. That's when I teared up for the first time. That was really cool. And then the whole scene with him burying his mom, it was cool because that's where you so it draws parallels to like African Americans and Hispanics in this country, how we have a lot of similarities. And that's one of them. How these white people came and pushed us off our land and then made us become slaves on it. Which with Africans, it was more steal them off their land, take them somewhere else,
Right.
make them work on it. But similar baseline there. So that was needed for the story. And it was cool. And though I'm Dominican, we have Native American in us, we have European, and we also have African in us. It was a good choice to make them just pure Central American natives, because it kind of separates, it doesn't, because it gets colluded with history when it comes to like Dominicans or Puerto Ricans or something. So,
and I want to clarify, it's not that I didn't like this scene. It was just when he said, the kid with no love, I wanted to see more bloodshed. Like I just wanted to see him go crazy. That's what I was really wanting, like that's what I was looking. Huh?
It's a Disney movie.
Yeah, I that's what I wanted though. Like I wanted to feel his pain. I
wanted to see Punisher.
Hey, please do. That's what I wanted to see. But I don't know if I told you, Anthony. So I'm sitting there with Emmanuel, and he's like, "Wait, he's Hispanic?" And I'm like, "Dude, yes." Like before he saw Talocan and all that kind of stuff, and I was like, "Dude, yes, bro." Like this, because I had to tell him, like, I'm whispering at this point in time, telling him who he is, what's his powers, yada, yada, where he's coming from, and then like that's when I see him, get on the edge of his seat more. And like,
a guy just like, "Hey, be quiet."
This is our time, sir. This is not yours. Okay.
Yeah, I wish someone told me something like that in the theater. After that scene, I'm slapping anybody. Could have been Joe Byron.
So yeah, we see that scene. So I wanted to ask you guys, after hearing his story, seeing everything that he has, seeing everything that he's fighting for, that he brought the sun to his people, all things that his people went through, they had to go retreat to the ocean. Are you on Nabar's side? On the Moore side? Do you feel? Are you agreeing with him that, hey, you got to go kill this girl? Are you agreeing with him? Because I'm not gonna lie, I was like, hey, Riri, you funny. If I swear to God, if I didn't meet you, it'd be different. But I'd have met you in this movie. You out of there. I'm sorry, but you're out of there. And I understand. But it's, what were y'all thoughts? Were y'all on the Moore side? Or were y'all just like, So CJ, you can go ahead and answer that one first, my man. So what were your thoughts? There's like a delay. There we go.
Answer. Because I mean, at the end of the day, like we all have our reasons for why we fight, and there's you fight for your family, you fight for the things that you love. Other people's life are on the line here. It gets a little convoluted to what side you want to be on. But
brother spitting, he dropped a SAT words like convoluted.
Oh yeah, I got this new app that I can find. I'm looking up there.
I see it's working. Let me get that app.
But yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It is. It's. I don't know. I can't decide because it's like I understand it. Like if it was me versus him, listen, I'm gonna choose me every time. But like we're all trying to protect something sacred to ourselves, and the biggest thing that I think messes up or gets us into wars is how we react to certain things or how hostile we become. And I think if it's always, you could be more diplomatic with the way you respond to certain things, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. I'm sorry. I just
basically what CJ said
rambled
was, basically what CJ said was, if you see him and Neymar in a fight, you better go help them Neymar. because he got that dog in him. That's basically what he's saying.
He's him.
Hey,
no, but I understand why he would want to act this way, because if you give them an inch, they'll try to take a whole yard or the whole football field. So you got to end it right there. So I wouldn't do what he decided, but I agree with his logic.
100%. What about
just
you?
look at how the Taínos are ended up with Columbus. They gave him gold and love and whatever, and he killed them. Before he did that, enslaved them, raped them, made each other rape each other. So if he can kill one person and save all that, sure, why not?
100%. So now we're gonna move on to the most intense part of this movie. Nakia goes out and finds Shuri, kills 2 people. Queen Ramonda lures Namor out of the ocean, and she she's talking to him just to distract him, and he's just like, if I see any one of you there, or the smallest tech from you guys there, I'm coming up there and I'm killing you and taking over Wakanda. And Nakia saves Shuri and Riri, and they get into the ship. They go back. Namor sees what happened, and he's like, it's game time. Ultimately, at the end of it, Queen Ramonda gets drowned, and I think one of the most crazy scenes in this movie is when Shuri runs in, and they're trying to do CPR on Riri and Queen Ramonda, and she's crying. And at that moment, your first time, you're like, all right, come on, you got this. Come on, you got this. Let's save her. And ultimately, Queen Ramonda dies and Riri Williams lives. And you just feel, I felt personally, I can't speak for everybody, but I felt so much pain for Shuri at that time to watch her mother die, because in a way she didn't see King T'Challa die. She didn't see her father die. She saw what happened, but she didn't see it. But in her face, she can see, like face to face, she sees the person that gave birth to her, the one that's teaching her how to be a queen, teach her how to be a woman of Wakanda, teach her how to be a leader as a woman of Wakanda. Just teach her how to be a leader in general. Teach her revenge is not the best thing. And you see that, and I'm crying again because it was just so intense. Gabby, what was going through your mind seeing that and the music playing, and she's like yelling out like mama, like yelling it, like this is no queen versus leader of the tech. This is my mother. What was going through your mind when you see that?
I'm gonna try. I hate that you came to me at this part, but I'm gonna try to keep this short so I don't start crying. But earlier in the year, I experienced something that put me back in that situation during this scene. Granted, mine wasn't as traumatic where somebody was drowned and, but I witnessed a parent take their last breath. And I was just sobbing because how she feels. I knew how she felt in that moment. And that's all I'm gonna say, because if I get going, I'll start crying, and I'm not about to cry on the internet. So.
I understand. So yeah, you see that happening, guys, and this is like the biggest pivotal thing in this movie. And this is gonna be a hot take for me. In a way, watching that, I was praying literally praying that Ryan Coogler ended the movie right there. I was hoping because that's what I want. I mean, you can look at me like that, but that's where I wanted it to end. Seeing that the enemy won, and that now we're going to be at a low point. Now you got to.
Man, you think sorry,
huh? Go ahead.
You think they were gonna give him a part 2, like Endgame and Infinity War?
Not necessarily.
Infinity War, Endgame.
Not necessarily, because what I wanted to end there, but then I wanted to, as time goes by, and you see Wakanda in a different movie or whatever it may be, you see Shuri in a different light, as a dark her, and I wanted to see Shuri darker for a long. I wanted Shuri to be
light skinned.
I wanted to see her in a revenge. I wanted to see her like in a revenge type of mindset. I want to see her in a revenge type of mindset for a longer period of time. That's what I wanted. And for me, if he would have ended the movie right there, I'd have been fine with it. That's just me. But
you probably been the only one.
Yeah, that's fine. I just liked all the emotional roller coaster that you go through this movie. And a lot of movies try to leave you on a good high point. And it would have been different for him to end it there with the queen dying. And then now you're going to have these thoughts. What is Shuri going to do now? Who's going to take over? Yada, yada. Like, I would have been fine with that. That's just me. That's just my thought. I wanted to be left with the down.
The only thing about that is the fact that it's just this movie is such on a different scale in terms of the whole phases of what Marvel's trying to do. So like Marvel's trying to give Black Panther its moment right now. It's kind of like it's stepping out to give Black Panther its moment, but still trying to not mess up for phase, whatever next phases are. So it's like I get what you're saying. Like in a perfect world where you really flesh out like all of the emotions from this event, you could do that and like really milk it. But I think it's kind of one of those things we kind of have to weigh everything out compared to what you got going on already.
And the movie does kind of let you down, gets you down softly, because softly. Yeah. No, I mean, we come to the movie theater expecting to mourn T'Challa, and his mom dies. What? You kidding me?
In fact, you would not.
It's a very anti-American movie. It's like, okay, he died. Okay, now give me the good stuff. Like, give me some candy. Yeah. Whatever. Just make me feel better. And you bury him. You bring this new guy who's more powerful, possibly, kills the queen, and now who knows? Who knows? She's by herself now.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's life. I think that's a good way or a good reason why it didn't end right there. Because like this is literally how people's lives are. Like, yeah, you got it down. Well, guess what? Another one could be coming again. And guess what? Another one could be coming again. But
what you gonna do about it?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
After coming and coming and coming and coming and coming and coming, and we will continue to come and continue to come over and over and over again.
I've heard this before.
That's what life does.
Yeah, it's, I think it's Skip.
Who said that?
No, that's Molly.
Mia
Molly.
Khalifa? Oh no, wrong.
No.
I know who that is.
But who's that?
Yeah.
But anyway, I kind of like that we see what happens after that though, because like we saw with how Queen Ramonda reacted after she lost her husband T'Challa and Shuri was kidnapped, and like we saw her anger come out. And so when we see Shuri lose her mom, it's like the roles are reversed. She's in that same place, like she's lost her last relative. And obviously it is different because Queen Ramonda's gone for good, whereas she didn't know if Shuri was going to be able to, if they were going to be able to get her back. But either way, like they were lost to them at that point in time. We saw how Queen Ramonda reacted. And now we see how Shuri reacts. And obviously it's revenge, it's anger, all feelings that are justified in that moment. But we see that Queen Ramonda was able to still be like queenly about it and still put the needs of her people first, whereas Shuri was like, nah, it's go time, it's war. Like we want the smoke. Well, yeah, I don't know
100%.
I don't know if Wakanda wanted the smoke, but Shuri wanted the smoke.
All of it.
All of it.
All of it.
Killmonger her, if you will.
Jesus. All right. So I think one of the good parts of this part, you know, of after Queen Ramonda is, you know, her funeral, and M'Baku and Shuri are there talking. And he's like, you know, something about, she makes a joke. Oh, you know, I'm not, she's like, oh, I thought I was a child that scuffs up tradition. And he's like, someone with all that pain and loss, you're not a child anymore. And I think that kind of like set the tone of, you know, realizing she's all alone now. I mean, you already realize it, but it's like set that in tone. Like she's not that kid anymore. She's not, you know, being all jokey and whatnot, you know. And so after that, you know, she buries her mother and she goes straight to the lab. Straight to the lab. There's no ducking and hiding. She goes straight to the lab. And ultimately, you know, she recreates the heart-shaped herb. She gives Riri all the tools and everything she needs to make the Ironheart suit 10 times better. What's up?
We gotta talk about how she was able to recreate the heart-shaped herb.
Okay, yeah. So basically, what happens is Namor gives her some jewelry, and
his mother's necklace.
And within the jewelry is their heart-shaped herb, or their I don't know what they really called it, but let's say their heart-shaped herb. And you know, she sends it to her AI, and he's like, it has the components, and she may have the components of theirs. And so she tries it, and you know, I think it gets like a 98% success rate. And you know, her and Nakia are in there, and they print it. And Nakia's like, hey, how do we know it's gonna work? She's like, when it glows. Instantly it glows, and you're just like, oh snap. You don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing because you don't know what Shuri's gonna do with it. And you know, they lay her down, she takes it, she wakes up in the ancestral plane. And she gets up. She's walking over to the throne. And Anthony, who do we see?
My man, Killmonger.
And it was crazy how they just kept that a secret. I just think
it was tough.
Yeah, it was super tough.
It came out of nowhere. I was like, what?
Yeah. I was like,
I was expecting
that
Chadwick.
was that kind of moment for me.
Oh yeah,
I was expecting Chadwick because they knew he was gonna pass because he had a timeline, you know, like a whatever. So I thought it was gonna be like some secret scene that they recorded. Nah, it was Killmonger.
100%. And you know, they start talking to each other, and you know, ultimately he's like, so why'd you take this? Why'd you take it? Oh, to see my family. He's like, nah, you didn't take it for that. You ain't gonna lie to me, cuz I know why you took it. Why you took it. You want to avenge your family and take the man that took your mother's life. And, you know, ultimately he's just like, so are you going to be like your brother? Or are you going to take care of business like me? And I was like, oh, damn. All right, Killmonger on one of his moods. He never got no chill. But what was y'all's thoughts when you saw Killmonger for the first time? Gabby, Jonathan, and CJ. Don't worry.
Again, not Marvel trying to turn me on with Michael B. Jordan. I was like, okay. No, but for real, I obviously was surprised, to see him, but their conversation made complete sense because, of course, she could be telling herself, I'm doing this for, my family, blah, like all the positive, I guess, aspects. Mm-hmm. But then confronting him and him being like, no, you just want to avenge your family. Like, that's how she truly is feeling. She just hasn't, realized that herself yet because she's just been trying to mask it. And so I liked the aspect that they did bring him because then that goes to show that, she has that fire in her. Mm-hmm. She's trying to keep it down, but she has that fire.
100%. I like as angry as she got, the flames did rise up around her, and it was just like that was so pivotal because now you see she got that anger in her, she got that vengeance, she got that villain mode really in her, and I kind of like what Ryan Coogler did, with that, like trying to bring in that, make us feel what Killmonger was doing this whole time. He was doing the same thing. That's all he was trying to do. He was trying to do the damn near the same thing.
Yeah. And it ties back to what she said to her mom, how the ancestral plane doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's within yourself. Mm-hmm. So for her to take that and now she sees this fire and revenge, I wonder what she's thinking about.
Exactly.
She said she's going to burn the whole world down if she could. CJ and Jonathan, what were your reactions when you saw Michael B. and Killmonger?
You go ahead.
I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised. I thought it was just gonna be Queen Ramonda because she had just passed, and that would give her like a sense of resolution, or maybe her father, because we haven't really seen any of him since. I mean, there was an ancestral plane visit, but outside of that, we haven't seen him since. Was it Civil War? Was that the
Civil War and Black Panther?
He died in.
Yes, sir.
Like we haven't seen a lot of him, so I thought maybe it would be him. Oh, okay, interesting. But I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like obviously, she has all that resentment, that anger, that desire for revenge inside of her, and she didn't believe in it. So it kind of makes sense, like to take it to a religious perspective. Like if you don't believe in heaven, how can you go to heaven? Obviously, it's not the same thing, but like if you don't believe in something, it can't be real. And like what Anthony said, she didn't believe in it. She said it's what's within yourself. So maybe that's what she saw is what was within herself, which was just that desire for revenge, that Killmonger mentality inside of her. So it was really interesting, and I like that they did that.
Yeah, I agree. It was a moment. I was kind of like in my head, I was kind of fantasy booking it. I was like, because like just kind of following along and like just seeing like all the anger that she had. I was like, I wonder if like I don't know if they would do it, but then when they revealed it was him, I was like, yes. Like it just makes too much sense. It's a good surprise mixed with like competent storytelling, and I enjoyed this moment. It really just added another oomph, to this story and to this movie, and it just hit. This movie just hit on so many different planes, so many different levels of just really like all 7 stages of grief, And I thought that it was excellent storytelling here.
100%. I think for me, I didn't think it would be Killmonger. I thought it was going to be the first king of Wakanda, Bashanga. And because I thought that they were going to finally speak on that person, and because they never really talk about the history. and who was the first or whatever it may be. And that's who I thought that's who it was going to be, the first person. Just because, you know, Shuri is young and she never really got, you know, she got what, after her brother died, one more year with her mother, and to learn about how to lead. I mean, I'm not saying Queen Ramona didn't teach her everything because we don't know, but I thought that was going to be her time to get more advice, and I thought that's what they were going to do, but they didn't. They probably came longer. I'm not hating on it. It was cool to see Swaggy him right then and there. He had his toes out. I don't know why I did that, but you know, I understand. It was cool, I guess. It was cool to see him, you know, in the ancestral plane, because you don't think about it. You just think he died. You don't. Personally, I just didn't think about it. But Anthony, did you want to say something?
No.
Okay. No,
you hit it.
All right.
I did want to say though, like, even though that Shuri had a year with her mother, that year she was like in disbelief of trying to like find like a cure. She was like trying to like bring her brother back to life. Like she it didn't really process. Like she really hadn't started to grieve yet. Like, you know what I mean? Like yes, she was in her process of denial, but then it's like when everything really hit to where another instance of grief, like starting over again, to where she kind of just skipped the denial straight to just anger, piss and vinegar. And so like we really got to see that at this moment in time in the movie.
You know, you saying that, you know, that just brings me back to what I was saying, you know, just the Bashanga thing. And I just wanted her to have more guidance. But interesting enough, when she wakes up, Nakia is like, "Who did you see?" Ignores the question. And you kind of figure out, like, she might do some stuff we don't need her to do. But we're going to fast forward. So after that, they find a way to contain Namor. So they, you know, go into the Atlantic. You got the Wakandans and the people of Talokan, and they're fighting. And which was an interesting fight because you see I gotta try to remember it. The Midnight Angel? Is that what it was called? The Midnight Angel suit? What'd you say?
I think that's right.
Yeah, so you see the Midnight Angel suit.
The suit that
Okoye wears. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know, she gets her lick back from old boy. She gets her lick back. So you're gonna fast forward a little bit or a lot to where you have the final fight scene of Shuri and Namor. And first of all, I'm seeing her in this suit and I'm like, damn, she is really skinny. She is, and I don't know if she's been trained in hand-to-hand combat. So this is going to be interesting because we've never seen her in the hand-to-hand combat. And so I think that scene was very pivotal just because you get to finally see, who does she become? Who is she going to... Is she going to do business like Killmonger, or is she going to be above that and, you know, be T'Challa in a way? And, you know, during the fight, you know, as soon as she's about to do the fatal blow, Queen Ramonda shows up and she says the famous, "Show him who you are." And I think that put it in perspective of like, you know, I can't do this because if I do this, then I'm going to be just like him. And even if he's dead, it's not going to bring them back. No matter how many times I hit the ancestral plane, they're not going to be here in day-to-day life. And, you know, he yields. And I want to ask you guys, were you convinced that Shuri was Black Panther? Like, were you convinced? Or was it just like you were just taking it because that's what they gave us? Were you convinced? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Can we go first?
I wasn't. What?
Okay.
You want to go first? Okay.
You going first?
Sure.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. Good.
I'm convinced in the leader aspect, she can lead. How she told, what's my man's name from the mountains?
M'Baku.
How she was like, I'm going to kill him or whatever, and you're going to help me. Like, that was badass. So for her to strategize and whatnot, the whole entire attack shows leadership. But her one-on-one combat, I want to see some more. I'm not from that aspect. I'm not convinced.
Right.
And then I kind of spaced out a little. Did we fast forward to the final blow opportunity? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
How
and then Queen Ramonda shows up.
Mm-hmm. The internal. Yep. That kind of also depicts how Black people and Latinos in this country have a choice to either like combine and fight the power per se, or in some communities just go at it, just fight, like in Los Angeles especially. The whole story was about showing the background and how they're both born in fire and have an excuse for revenge and violence. Mm-hmm. And you have a choice. You keep feeding into it, or you choose a peaceful right and you unite. So
100%. Gabby, are you convinced that Shuri is the Black Panther?
I mean, what do you mean? Like, am I convinced? Because, like, she is. You know, like, I didn't understand what you meant by that question.
So, for me, right?
False. She is not. She's an imposter.
I just wasn't convinced.
She should
like,
be, is what I think.
Because like Anthony said, the hand-to-hand combat was just not there. And I get it. I get it. You've only been Black Panther really for probably maybe a little over 24 hours. Maybe not even 24 hours yet, probably.
Okay, because that's where I was going with it. Because I was like, you were talking about the hand-to-hand combat, and I was like, this girl's been in a lab using her brain muscle, essentially, you know, like this whole time. Like, how do you expect her to just come out the bat and just be like, you know,
but that's what we're saying,
ready to take it down?
She's the Black Knight. She's the real Batman.
Oh, brother.
I mean, no, I mean, yes, I guess I'm convinced because I'm going to take off of what I just said. Yes, she might not have the strength as in like the physical male strength that King T'Challa had, but she has the strength of her smarts. So she might not be the same kind of Black Panther that he was, but she's going to be the kind of Black Panther that she is.
Sheesh. That's fine.
I mean, yeah, I get it. It was just different. It's just you go from seeing one person to something.
Doesn't the heart-shaped herb give them all the same strength?
Yes, it does. But the thing was,
and I bet it's stronger.
It's different because T'Challa was born and bred, you know, of the pressure of being king, and he was born and bred to learn how to fight at a young age.
Like he's been trained in hand-to-hand combat.
Right. And
but in terms of like strength and agility, like it's supposed to boost all of them to the same level, though, right?
100%. Because he still fought Killmonger without all his Black Panther powers.
And he fought in
M'Baku.
Like without it, you know what I'm saying?
So it's like obviously he had the fighting skills, you know, even without his powers.
I think we're not saying what we really want to say.
Okay.
I think we're all dancing around the actual thing that we don't want to say because we want to be politically correct. I do not. Okay? She is not her. Period. And some people wear the big pants and other people wear pajama pants. Okay? Stay your ass at home. Because when it's time to play, it's time to go to work. You gotta strap up and go.
Yeah.
It gets real out in these streets.
CJ, who would you have been? Who would you have wanted to be Black Panther? Is this your king? I'm like, oh Lord. Ooh.
You know who could have played that role? Scarlett
My Black
Johansson.
Panther's dead. Oh, buddy.
That's a woman of many different backgrounds.
Jesus. CJ, who would you have wanted to be the Black Panther? And they could have many different backgrounds.
Killmonger. But he dead.
He's dead.
Maybe he never died, or he came from another timeline. Come on, this is Marvel.
Multiverse of madness.
If they pull that off, listen. If they pull that off, listen. They reaching. They're reaching. They see James Gunn over there in DC, and they're like, we gotta do something crazy.
But that makes like there is still like sorry. I was saying like there is still a multiverse where
it's like that commercial. It's literally like that Geico commercial.
Not even Key and Peele.
I'm taking a sip.
Go ahead, Jonathan. What were you saying, buddy?
I'll let Gabby go ahead.
I don't even remember what I was saying now. I don't even know where I was going.
So quick tangent. You know how when Killmonger has had the last battle with T'Challa, and he says, "Don't bury me. Throw me in the ocean so I can be buried, or with the bodies of my ancestors who would rather jump overboard than see slavery."
Right.
What if they had given him like a burial at sea? They like threw his body into the ocean, and he was found by Namor, and was like saved before he drowned, and was like kept alive in Talokan.
Sheesh.
Okay, but I kind of
that would have been a story.
I like it. I like it, but that's oof. I guess so. I mean, it could happen. It would just be the ancestral plane thing that just gets it. But we've seen him in different.
Make it fake.
Obviously, that's not what it is. But what if that had happened? Like that happened in this movie.
It was all a dream.
It would make sense because Killmonger knows everything about Wakanda, knows about the defenses and all that kind of stuff, and so I mean, he could tell him exactly what to do. In a way, so I mean, he probably could have told him exactly what.
Actually, it could still happen. If Shuri didn't believe in the ancestral plane and she really didn't technically go to the ancestral plane, what if she just saw like literally her imagination of Killmonger, and not the ancestral plane version?
Heck yeah. Here we go. We going crazy with it. Nothing wrong with that though.
M'Baku's.
I like that.
I don't care. It should have been M'Baku.
M'Baku. I don't know, man. I don't know. He got his ass handed to him a couple times, so I don't know. I don't know. Sound like some flim up in that.
But he still fought
and got his butt whooped.
He still went out swinging.
When
if he challenged Shuri,
he swung. My man,
if he challenged Shuri, he wouldn't have won.
If he challenged Shuri, he would have had that ass with a spike.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have made Okoye the new Black Panther.
Nah, I guess
since she's no longer the head of the Dora Milaje.
That'd be fire.
There's a lot of ways they could have gone, and it felt kind of lazy to me to just give it to her just because she's T'Challa's sister.
I don't think they really gave it to her though. Like, I feel like a lot of people kind of felt like it should have been her.
She kept it though. Like she gave up. I don't mean to jump ahead, but at the end when they go to Challenge Day and M'Baku's at Challenge Day, but she's not there.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, she like forfeited the throne of Wakanda. She said, "I'd rather be Black Panther than keep the throne."
And in the next movie, she's gonna lose it all.
It's like the Black
Panther. Even more all.
I thought the Black Panther was inherited too, though. Just like how the title of queen would have been. You know, like I thought they just passed it down along their generation. Or am I wrong in that?
No, you're right. It's supposed the royal. Yeah, it's supposed to be, but I think M'Baku has so much respect for her. Like he said, she's not a child anymore, and he wants to be there for her. He doesn't. But
she's still a girl
unless she gives it to him.
In the face of tradition.
Yeah, facts. Big facts. So after that scene happens, guys, they're all good, and then she goes to high 80, sees Nakia, and she says she's going to do the ritual by herself. And then the end credit scenes happen, and Rihanna starts singing. It's all it goes crazy. And they join her on the beach, Nakia and this kid who is Tucson. And
Tucson.
He's like, huh? So what? I swear I heard him say something. I don't know what's going on. But
I said his name.
Tucson, and he's just like Tucson is. I don't know what's going on here. It's like, is he trying to talk or no? Like I don't like. It's like I hear him, and then it's like, but the kid's sitting there. I'm not gonna say his name anymore because I feel like every time I say his name, he says it.
Tucson.
And he's like, "Can you keep a secret?" And she's like, "I can keep a secret." And she just does the whole, Ugubani, who are you? And he says, "My name is T'Challa, son of Prince. My name is Prince T'Challa, son of King T'Challa." And she just breaks down, and first thing she says is, "Does my mother know? Did my mother meet him?" She just wants to know if the elder of the family met the youngest of the family. And she's like, yes, kept it a secret. Do you guys think that was the right move? And what were your feelings?
Let me tell you what the right move is going to be in the next movie, though. I'm gonna give you a spoiler alert because look, the script has been leaked to me for the next Black Panther movie.
The NFL script, okay.
The script has been leaked to me because we got a foreshadow of it earlier, but when Shuri is gonna have to kill her brother's son because she selfishly wants to keep the Black Panther and not give it up. That's what's gonna happen. Book it, and then look, you'll come back to this episode, and you'll be like, he really did have the answers.
I'm gonna tell you exactly what's gonna happen.
I kind of agree with you. I don't think it's gonna be Shuri. I think it's gonna be Shuri's son. But who's gonna be the father?
I'm gonna tell you exactly what's gonna happen.
I thought she was gay.
Is it gonna be?
I don't think so. They haven't really. I haven't seen them really.
The way she was clicking with Riri and how she was dressing on MIT campus. I don't know. I think they were trying to project.
I don't know. Her was Namor though. When they were walking through town,
her Namor, they kind of rocking together.
She could be into both.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gabby.
But there's definitely some seeds with.
If that happens, that movie's gonna be banned in Florida.
Oh, no.
Hey, as long as you don't say it, I think you're fine. Just don't say gay. Just don't say it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just be it, but don't say it. Okay.
If you do say you're gay, just stand your ground.
Yeah, exactly. If you say you're gay, stand your ground in Florida. There you go.
So Anthony, CJ, Gabby, and Jonathan, just say yes or no. Do you like that they put in that he is T'Challa's son? We'll start with Anthony.
Yes.
CJ.
Yes.
Gabby.
Yes.
And Jonathan.
As a man called Brian Daniels, Daniel Bryan once said, yes, yes, yes.
I think it was interesting that they put his son in here. I kind of going to piggyback off of what CJ said. I think what's going to happen is Shuri is going to have so much rage in her because she's probably going to find out some other things. And Tucson is going to try to flip her to, be more in control. And I think that's when she kills him because, she doesn't want to give the throne. I think that's what's going to happen. You guys don't know what I know. Just be patient. Just wait on it. So yeah, do you think they will keep the same actor that plays Tucson? Do you think they'll wait?
Nah, they're not gonna wait.
No,
You said what?
no. They're going to age him up.
Yeah,
they're going to age him up for sure.
100%.
Because what I think they're trying to do by introducing T'Challa's son as T'Challa is I think they still might try to do a T'Challa Storm storyline somewhere down the road. Now that Marvel has the rights to
I need that.
So
I need that.
Those
I was thinking
Storm and Black Panther were
Yep. They were married. I think what they were going to do was have the time to maybe make a series of a young T'Challa and see his upbringing. And that's how they introduced their history of past kings and all that kind of stuff and queens. So, and past Black Panthers. So that's what I think they could do. I think that'll be really cool to do that with Tucson / T'Challa. So yeah, I think that'll be something interesting to do. So all right, guys. Anthony, CJ, Gabby, Jonathan, give your rating 1 through 10 on Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Jonathan, we'll start with you, then Gabby, then CJ, then Anthony. What is your rating for this movie?
I liked it, but as CJ said, it did seem like there were some stereotypes they could have avoided that they might have leaned into a little heavily. So I'm gonna go with a nice 8.7.
Oh, that's high.
Wait, who was next? Was it me?
You, Gabby.
It might have broke the 9.
Sorry. Is it me now?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk over anybody.
You're good.
You know. Okay, for me, I will come at you. Anywho, so for me, I was gonna say like probably like an 8.8, 8.9, but to me, just the woman presence in this movie is what took over the most for me. Like, do I love that, honestly, the first Black Panther, just digging into the costumes and like I got to learn so much about all these different cultures. Then this one brought in a whole other culture that I've went on a wormhole about. But like for me, this movie, the women presence was just chef's kiss. I loved it.
100%.
And that's the tea.
No problem.
Okay, wait, I do have to say something.
Okay.
I wrote it down because I wanted to get it. Speaking of women, I'm going to take my stand here. Okay, this movie shows women are essential to the story and not just filling a quota. Instead, they're just humans to celebrate, fear, and admire. And I had to write that down because I didn't want it to remember that. Because look at all the other woman-based superhero movies we have. They all like get their powers and like when they succeed, it's just like this whole like overwhelming feeling of victory because of like girl power. But in this movie, it was like rooted in their identity of like being allowed to triumph over these things because of who they were already. Right. Like, granted, yeah, she drank the
that was an addition though.
The
like,
herb or whatever.
Just an addition to
but that just like she was still who she was. 100%. And that just I cried so hard in this movie because of that too.
I think it was the highest grossing woman-led film ever, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure I read that.
I'm not sure, but
I'm pretty sure I read that.
For sure.
I am pretty sure I read that. It's one of the highest.
And to go off her point, Black Panther 2, I believe, does pass the Bechdel test. So that's good. Do you guys know what the Bechdel test is?
No, sir. You're going to have to explain that to me.
Please, Wikipedia defines it as The Bechdel test is a measure of representation of women in film. The test asks whether a film features at least two women talking to each other about something other than a man.
Ooh.
The measure sometimes is enhanced by adding that the two female characters being named in the film, and there's other criterias. So a lot of movies that we think might pass the Bechdel test don't pass the Bechdel test. Like in some movies, women don't talk to each other when the topic's not about a man. It's like,
Isn't this whole movie about a man?
But not in the sense of like romantic, you know.
The
like
movie
most of the time,
is
they're
about
like, "Oh my gosh, she cheated on me." Blah blah blah. No, this is like
how the woman's part, right?
real
like
stuff. You know what I mean? Well,
how the queen was handling with all this grief, and how the daughter was dealing with grief and coming into power. So, yes, T'Challa dies at the beginning, but I mean, look who becomes Black Panther and what they have to go through to become Black Panther. It would have been cool to see the Queen as Black Panther, but that's
another story. One thing I forgot to say is we didn't talk about Anthony's favorite colonizer at all.
Black Cougar?
They couldn't make a suit.
I don't know what they're talking about. I was talking about Ross, Agent Ross. He was a vital part of this operation, and seeing that lady was his wife, man, sleeping with the enemy. She's gonna have her own little thing going on at Disney Disney TV shows as well. So you said 8.8, Gabby?
I'm gonna go with 8.9 just to spice it up.
All right. CJ, what's your rating?
I thought this movie was good. I thought it hit a lot of points. Well done. It was really touching, a lot of emotional moments. For that, I'm gonna give this movie a solid.
Tough crowd over here.
What do you say?
We didn't hear it. It just went in and out.
Yeah.
8.4.
8.4. All right. Respect 8.4. All right, Anthony. You're on the chop block. What rating are you giving this movie?
Okay. So Namor has wings on his feet. What else I didn't like about the movie? Oh yeah, that's pretty much it. 9.9. 9.9. Are you kidding me? The way that depict the rage of dealing with these Christian colonizers and how the kid goes on to kill them, and in seeking revenge, the guy who was colonizing them calls him the devil or like a demon child. Fuck off. Pardon my French. So it was just perfect. And I felt represented when I watched the first Black Panther movie, and I feel even more represented watching the second one. So 9.9. Take the wings off his feet. Change that up a little bit different. I don't know. I don't know about the comics. Then it would have gotten a 10. But 9.9.
It's like that in the comics.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
Change the comics.
I am going to give this movie a 9.5. I love the emotion that it brings, that you feel everything that the characters feel. And I feel like I feel like Black Panther is one of the most superhero movies that you care for every character and you feel what they feel, and you can easily put yourselves in their shoes and you want them to succeed. And so much happens in this film, and Ryan Coogler did an amazing job. Because, I think we talked about it before, maybe he had to change the whole script very, very quickly after Chadwick passed away. And for him to figure out a way to bring on Chadwick's death, to honor him and to give us time to grieve as they grieved, I think that was just awesome. And So yeah, I give it a 9.5. I'm interested to see what else they do with it. I know Secret Wars and all that kind of stuff is coming up. I know this was the last movie in Phase 4, I think, or Phase 5. We're going into Phase 5, right?
We're going into Phase 5. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So it was cool for that to end it. But yeah, I give it a 9.5. Does anyone else have any closing remarks about this film that we did not go over or anything? And I just want to say thank you to Gabby, Anthony, CJ, and Jonathan for, taking the time to talk about this movie. It was definitely awesome to have Anthony on and Gabby hear your thoughts on everything and with the wardrobe and, just repeatedly highlighting that, it was a woman-led film and that needs to be recognized more. And that Angela Bassett, Jesus Christ, man, huh?
It passes the Bechdel test. That's huge.
I think Angela Bassett, she did amazing in this film. You just can't take your eyes off of her. Nakia did well.
Sure.
I just want to say how Gabby felt about seeing Namor for the first time and seeing Michael B. Jordan. It's how I felt. Lupita. Boy, I've never wanted to go to Haiti so bad until now. Oh my God. You could not hide that. You cannot. That thing was thinging. She had that thing on her. Oh my God.
But yeah, and Jonathan, thank you
for. They didn't make her the Black.
Yeah,
they didn't have enough material for the suit.
Yeah, that's too much. That's too much vibranium. Relax. Boy.
Jonathan, thank you for joining us. Did that sound delayed to you guys?
I do have one
very delayed.
I was like, what is that? What? CJ and Jonathan.
My final remark though is that Ruth Carter is a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Let's try again.
Look her up.
Doesn't matter. Costume designer Ruth Carter, 10 out of 10.
100%.
She don't miss.
Another don't miss.
I think that's something let's like to get off his chest.
Yeah. Thank you, CJ. My last thing I wanted to say is that when I watched it, it didn't even feel like it was like a women empowerment movie. Like it was just a good movie. Like to me, it didn't feel like they didn't try too hard. Like the end of Endgame, when they have like that women team up where I just felt forced.
Yeah.
Where they had all the women superheroes come together and then they didn't really do anything. They still got, we're not going to go there. It just didn't feel forced. It just felt like a good movie. And I like that this movie showed that you can do that. Like you can have women empowerment, but not make it feel forced. And I feel like this was
like
a really
the Black Widow movie, which felt
Christian,
very forced.
Yeah,
I heard my name.
But Christian, I have a dud or dandy for you. I have a dud or dandy for you.
All right.
Are you ready? It's a take. I want you to say.
Okay.
This take is a dud or as comic book characters.
Uh-huh. I did not hear a word of that. I did not hear a word of that. Oh,
you didn't hear a word of that?
And I was listening. And I didn't hear a word of that.
As comic book characters. Can you hear me now?
Yep. Oh
bro,
my
this
God.
Mike hates him, bro.
He's trolling. He's doing it on purpose. He's doing it on purpose.
All I hear is, can I hear him now? This is you. No. This is you, Jonathan. Hey, can you hear me now?
As characters. As
comic book characters.
As comic book characters, Black Panther is better than Static
Shock.
Static Shock.
Did you say is Black Panther better than Static Shock?
Blink once for yes, and twice for
I think
no.
he's gonna type it.
Black Panther's better than
As
Static
comic book characters, I think this is my take. To me, Static Shock was better for me because you could relate to him more. Because he was just a kid, a normal kid. But you grow to love and respect and see what it feels like to have the Black royalty, a country of all people that look like you who are doing amazing things. You grow to love that and you see it, and now it's like that's all you want. So I think for Static Shock, is he better? A little bit, because I can relate more to him. But Black Panther Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther will always be, and he will always be my Black Panther. And I don't know, man. That's a hard question. I don't know why you had the guts to say that to me. Is he better than Black Panther? I don't, because Static Shock is my guy. I'll go yeah, but I think in the reality of things, since he hasn't had a movie and he hasn't had the screen time like Black Panther puts the cake on everything, because we see someone so humble and see the character of T'Challa be so amazing. I retract my answer. Black Panther's better. I retract my answer. Black Panther's better. He's a way better character. 100%. The impact that he has, like on the world right now, the impact that he has on all kids and not little black boys, and just everything that it's just that whole thing just has the biggest impact in the world. And most people don't even know who Static Shock is. So I'm going to say he's way better than Static Shock. I take that back. Black Panther is better than Static Shock.
That's why I said as comic book characters, like not including Chadwick Boseman
as comic book characters
in the MCU. Like strictly comics, no movies.
Static Shock go crazy. I'm sorry, but Static Shock go crazy. This dude, then he turns into black. Oh, I don't know, dog. I'll say Static Shock on the comic book. I'm picking Static Shock. But the impact on the world as today, Black Panther.
So we just spent 2 hours reviewing this movie and you hate Black Panther? That's crazy.
Oh my God.
Set you up.
Oh my God. Jeez.
Talk about the long game.
Got him.
Hey guys, I have to head out.
We're gonna wrap it right now.
Sorry,
all right, guys. Thank you for watching another episode of Whattadud. If you want to listen to this, we are on all podcast platforms, whether it's Google, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. You can also watch us on YouTube under the Hate to Pile On umbrella. Thank you, Anthony, for joining us. Gabby, you are always so lovely. You got Jonathan, who's always exceptionally well, and CJ, who just does the damn thing because he got that dog, Remember, guys, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode.
I'll give you.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. And you guys have a great day.